process when writing a short story, and this is a newly built, newly formed short story writing process that I not really adopted, but I know this is not a unique and original process. Some writers, authors already incorporates a few of these processes. I'm not gonna be surprised if some of this process feels familiar to you, or you've seen other writers do it, or maybe it's even a part of your process. The first thing I do, which is something new in my process, I've been saying the word process quite a few times now. First is to write a log line. I'm actually writing it, so if you see me like clicking down, I'm writing on my notebook. This is a new addition to my writing process, which I kind of like because it sets up my expectations for the story. Once I have the log line written down and satisfied enough to continue, I will move on to the next step. It's helpful for clarity. And then my next step would be to write the story description. I should have written this down first, but writing the story description is kind of like writing the summary or the synopsis of your whole story. So basically, you have a mini view of the overall story arc. Same with the logline. I mainly use it for clarity. I usually stray away from what I first intended to do, and so having the logline and the story description really keeps me inside this initial story idea. And if there are any scenes or plot points that doesn't benefit the story, that comes about during the revision. Because as I'm getting back into writing, what's most important to me is just getting started, getting the writing done. And my third step would be plotting. And this is really funny because I feel like I can't write without an outline anymore. I have to build the outline. It's kind of like it's turned into my zero draft. So I write my outline as scenarios of what the sequences of scenes. The sequences are the word? I'm an English major and I forgot. The sequence of scenes. I think that's more. I don't know. So the sequence of each scenes, I need it to be written down. I need it organized. So plotting has been a very huge part of my writing process. The fourth step would be actually writing. So that's when I go into the actual writing part. And after the writing part, I just let my story rest. It's a short story, a novel, poetry, and then I go back to it a few days after because I'm talking about my short story that I don't have much time to get it revised and edited because I'm entering into a contest. I just have 4 steps in the writing process, and I made it seem like it's such a big deal. But yeah, so logline, story description, plotting and outlining, and then the actual writing. So that's my writing process, which you will see in the next clip. Okay. Hi, what have I been doing? I'm currently planning for my short story that I will submit to a contest on June 30th. I will set aside Project Nasha for a while and focus on the poetry collection and my short story because I need Project Nasha to be finished on July. So that's the plan. So I will be focusing on the short story and the poetry collection for today. Earlier, while I was eating breakfast, I was listening to like poetry reading on YouTube, and I remembered one of my favorite poems by Edgar Allan Poe was Annabel Lee, and I listened to it, and then I was like, why not make a short story inspired by that poem? So as I've been plotting my story so far, I have included in my writing process. This is like the first step before I go and outline a story. So I always write a log line. A log line is a one sentence description of your story designed to quickly grab a reader's attention. And the parts or like the ingredients of the log line, they have here the protagonist, the inciting incident, the protagonist's goal, and the central conflict. The protagonist is the main character of the story. The inciting incident is the moment that kicks off the plot. The goal is the thing the protagonist is trying to achieve. The central conflict is the main problem or question the protagonist is trying to solve. I have been trying to follow that formula. So here's what I initially wrote, and I am not quite satisfied with it yet. So I'm gonna have to tweak and revise it before moving on to my next step. Okay, let me read it. Erwin is on a deadline to finish his third poetry collection when, just a few weeks ago, his beloved fiancée died. But he has no time to grieve. Instead, he inks his grief on paper, where Isabella starts materializing. However, he must choose whether to keep her fragmented soul or keep his sanity intact. What do we think? I think I won't. Tracy? Tracy? What are you doing? Here is the log line. I don't like how long the sentence is, and this is the formula that Wattpad suggested. I don't want to follow this exact sentence structure. I still want to keep this line because like this is his external goal. Sorry, that's my dog coughing. He can't just be writing poetry. Like it's not his hobby, it's his work. So I want to make that clear. Now, this word I added it here because I want to make it because the death here, the death can be figurative, like their love dying, but it's not. Figurative death is not what I'm aiming for. Is this necessary to the story? No. How did Isabella die? So she was sick, but not dying suspiciously.
let's say she has, I still have to plan what kind of sickness she has. Like, see, Erwin lost his beloved fiance to a sickness. I want this to be specific, but I will do that later. Um, what? No, they do. And having no time to grieve, he inks his grief onto paper, materializing Isabella's fragmented soul. However, he must choose whether to keep her fragmented soul or his sanity intact. I think this is a lot better than the first one, but I think I can still improve it. Let's see. How long is this? That's 38 words. I need to cut some words out. I think this line. I think I'm gonna change this line because the word grief or grieve is repeated. I don't like that. Okay, let's have another one. Let's see. Losing his beloved fiance to a sickness. Erwan inks his grief onto paper, materializing Isabella's fragmented soul. However, he must choose whether to keep. Okay, so fragmented soul is again repeated, but I think that's fine. I almost said insanity. Okay, losing his beloved fiance to. Okay, let's. I don't want to. Okay, I don't know if I want to keep cancer as the um cause of Isabella's death. I'm not so sure. I might still revise that after I'm done with the whole story, but for now I know what is happening. The central conflict is person versus self. I'm not sure if it's reflected as much as I think in this line, but between himself, there's like the logical, rational part and the irrational part of himself that wants to keep her soul. And the rational part of himself is like, you will go to Looney Town if you keep doing this. So, yeah. The inciting incident is, of course, losing his fiance to cancer. And what is his action? He inks his grief into paper. I actually really like how I use the word ink here instead of just using the regular word write, because I think that's kind of poetic. It's not really a goal, but more of like the consequence of um, inking his grief onto paper. The consequence of that is materializing as Isabella's soul, fragmented soul. And I use fragmented here to say that her soul is not complete, like it's not her. It's not the same Isabella when she was alive, because this Isabella is already dead. She needs to move on, pass on, and rest in eternal life. That is our logline. I will now be writing the story description. And I also have the like story structure here. But I will first start with the story description.
is currently 12:04. It's time for me to get lunch, and it's just perfect timing because I finished writing. Guess how much I wrote? I cannot believe how much I wrote. Okay, I was writing for 25 minutes. I sprinted for 25 minutes. I managed to write 526 words. And it was fantastic. The words were just flowing. The idea of what is happening with the character. Although it seemed like the character to me, I don't know how to explain it. Actually, this 526 words felt like the main character, Erwin, is just rambling his thoughts. And I think that's a big part of his personality. Hi, I finished my second 25-minute sprint. And how much did I write? I felt like, I wrote a lot more, like 10 words more than the first sprint. So in total, I wrote 534 words during this sprint. And same like earlier, everything just flowed so fast. I didn't really have time to think about certain things. There were like quite like 2-3 words that I had to look up and be sure or like translate from my native language into English because I am writing in English. And oh my god, this is crazy. It's the first time in so long that I'm writing like this. Like everything is just going smoothly. And oh my god. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed this process. Let me know your process when you're writing a short story. This is my first time getting back into writing short forms of fiction, and it was really interesting. And I think I now have an idea on how to remedy my problem when I feel like I'm stuck with writing my novels or even my poetry. So yeah, this has been a fun experience, and like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know your own process so we can chat and comment. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!